Hello friends, welcome to my channel Tech Buzz with Pradeep. I hope you are doing great. Today we are going to discuss top 10 generative AI question. Generative AI is nowadays coined a lot and it is solving many business problems into the industry. That is why it is having its own significance into the industry nowadays. So without wasting time, we will jump on the first question of the generative AI. So this is a very obvious question. What is the generative AI? Generative AI is a subset of deep learning. As we see into the picture, machine learning is the subset of artificial intelligence. Deep learning is the subset of machine learning. Similarly, generative AI is the subset of deep learning. So generative AI is the subset of deep learning. Generative AI is the type of AI that generates new data that is similar to the data on which it was trained. Suppose if the model is trained on the dog data, then it will generate the image of the dog. If it is trained on the cat data, then it will generate the image of the cat. So a statistical model will be generated as a result of training, and this statistic model will help to generate the new content. So once the training will be done, then a statistical model will be generated. And this model is having the capability to read from the patterns and data distribution. So it will be helpful to generate the new content on which the data was trained. I think this question will be clear to you guys. Then coming to the next question, question number 2. What are the different types of the deep learning model? So deep learning models are of two types, discriminative and generative. In discriminative, it does classification, predictions, or clustering. So inside to deep learning, there are some of the algorithm, discriminative algorithm like RNN, RCNN, mask RCNN, LSTM, GRU. So these are the discriminative model, and it does classification, predictions, and clustering. If it is a cat or a dog, it does the clustering as a cat or a dog. Okay. In generative model, it generates the new data. It identifies the pattern on the distributed data. It creates a statistical model that identifies the pattern on which the data has been trained. And this is capable of generating text to text, text to image, image to image, image to text, and then image to video. So it is having the capability to generate the new content, whether it is text or image or video. Next question is, what are the different types of generative models? So generative models of two types. Generative language model, it is having the capability to generate the content, like from some text it can identify what comes next. It is also capable of generating the image model, like from uh, text to image, image to image, image to video. So new image creation from a set of images using the diffusion techniques. So in this way, generative models works like it creates the new images. The question number 4, what are the different types of generative AI models? So these are the AI models which are frequently used in the industry. The first one is the GAN, Generative Adversarial Network. Here, with the help of this GAN, we used to create a new style from the set of images. So this is frequently used in the industry to for style changes of the images and to create the new images based on creating the higher number of sampling by putting the noise inside into it. Next one is the transformer. This is very much used nowadays. Hugging Face is just providing this transformers API in which we are having the facility of the pipeline through which we can just use any of the models inside into the Hugging Face. And inside into the Hugging Face, we are having lot of models stores there, like text to image, image to text. That is very much helpful in generating the new content, new images based on our requirement. Third one is the variational auto encoders. This is the encoder decoder architecture basically, and we will discuss into the next slides. The fourth one is the Gaussian mixture model. It is used into the biometric industry to create the drugs, samples, and all. Now coming to the next question, question number 5, what is GAN? Generative Adversarial Network. So GAN by design uses the two neural networks. First one is the generator and second one is the discriminator. The generator transforms noise into the meaningful output. By introducing noise, we can get the GAN to produce a wide variety of data sampling from different places in the target distribution. So generator is also very much helpful to create a sample data, because once we are going for the training, we need a huge amount of data. So generator is also very much helpful uh, to distort the existing images data to create a new sampling over there, so that model can be trained with a huge amount of data. Uh, Another one is the discriminator. The discriminator learns to distinguish the generator's fake data from the real data. Next question is, what is transformers? Transformers are the type of the deep learning model used for natural language processing and computer vision tasks. They utilize a mechanism called self-attention to process sequential input data. So what actually is the self-attention to process the sequential input data? Actually, it enables the model to weigh the importance of different elements in an input sequence and dynamically adjust their influence on the output. Okay, so transformer can process the entire input data at once, capturing the contents and relevance also. So this transformation API is helpful to just download any pre-trained model, load datasets, and tokenize the input as per the model requirement from Hugging Face platform. So since new variant of the transformer models are developed every day, the team at Hugging Face has democratized the usage of such state-of-the-art model with the help of the transformer API. So Hugging Face already had decided to just export the transformers API for any of the model download and working inside into the Hugging Face only through this API only. Next question is, what is variational autoencoder? So this is the encoder and decoder architecture. So two neural networks that work together to provide the best generative models. So here into the diagram we can see X is the input and we are encoding the data. Downsampling, basically we are creating the new feature every time. And here we used to do the upsampling and we used to generate the data. So this is the process generally used to go. So it is a generative AI algorithm that uses the deep learning to generate new content, detect anomalies, and remove noise. But what actually the variational autoencoder does? So variational autoencoder not just learns a representation of the data, but it also learns the parameter of the data distribution, which makes it more capable than autoencoder, as it can be used to generate the new samples from the given domain. This is what makes a variational autoencoder a generative model. I hope this is clear now. Because first we are just talking about the encoder, decoder, and why this is autoencoder? Because it is generating the self data, self input data. And on the top of autoencoder, there is some variations. So it learns the parameter of the data distribution, which makes it more capable than autoencoder. Okay. Okay. So coming to the next question now. What is Gaussian mixture model? So guys, this is very much helpful in the biometric system where the sampling of the data is done by mixing up uh, the Gaussian distribution to develop the new distribution. So for clustering, GMM can be used to group together data points that comes from the same Gaussian distribution. So GMM consists of two parts, mean vectors and covariance matrix. It is very tough to understand from a design, but we will try to understand what actually it is. Gaussian mixture model is a probabilistic model that assumes all the data points are generated from a mixture of finite number of Gaussian distribution with unknown parameters. It is used for a variety of the use cases, including identifying the customer segmentation, detecting fraudulent activity, and clustering images. So for clustering, GMM can be used to group together data points that comes from the same Gaussian distribution. In each of these examples, the Gaussian mixture model is able to identify clusters in the data that may not be immediate obvious. So it is very much helpful in the case of the clustering. Okay, and that is why it is highly used into the biometric system. So GMM are a parametric framework for the likelihood distribution of the parameters in biometric system. Okay. So coming to the next question. When we are talking about the generative AI, we cannot leave the LLM. LLM means large language model. This is the model which, which has been trained on huge amount of data, petabyte scale of data. Okay. And every big giant is just creating their own LLM. Like OpenAI is doing, Google has created Google Bard, Meta has created Llama, OpenAI has also created the Chat GPT and DALI. Okay, that is why we are discussing over here. This is very much important, and nowadays it is very much prevalent and very much helpful to create any application. You have heard about the Chat GPT. So this is the OpenAI model. It is capable of doing mm, so many use cases, and it is able to solve so many problems in the IT industry. So a large language model is the type of artificial intelligence algorithm that uses deep learning technique and massively large data set to understand, summarize, generates, predicts new content. These are the things done by the ChatGPT nowadays. So here inside the ChatGPT, we are having multiple API. So GPT 3.5, 4 has come, and 5 is on the way. The term LLMs are a type of generative AI that has been specifically designed to help the to generate text-based content, right? So here I have mentioned like inside the with OpenAI we are having the Chat GPT for summarization, generating the and predicting the new content, and DALI is for the text to image conversion. Google Bard is also a LLM. Palm Palm is the new one, and it is highly used in the industry because it is having the capability of using the search engine capability inside into it. So it can give you more better result because OpenAI is the LLM which has been trained till September 2021. So it is not capable of answering the question what had happened after that. But Palm just use the capability of the Google search engine, and it can also search few of the things over there, recent cases, and it can answer you the most recent result as well. Llama is also the very new language model which has been developed by Meta. And here I have mentioned the two more points. These are the framework. Actually, LangChain is very much famous nowadays, and this is the framework designed to simplify the creation of the application using large language model. LangChain's use cases largely overlap with those of the language model in general, including document analysis, summarization, chatbots, and code analysis. So with the help of the just open AI, LangChain can use this open AI and can create many application functionality. LangChain is also having the features of chaining and agent. So it is also very much used in the industry nowadays. The last one is the one such tool that uses the power of ChatGPT to ease data manipulation tasks in the Python, which is known as Pandas AI. The Pandas AI is also very much helpful to generate the data from data frame and use the power of ChatGPT to ease the data manipulation task in Python. So these are the things actually. So guys, I have created a new video on it on LLM, ChatGPT, and Palm. So definitely you should go to those videos to understand into the deep. I have also mentioned all of these the previously explained GMM, VAE, transformers, and GAN into the deep. So you can go through those videos, and you can understand all of these things into the detail. And we are also going to just publish the new video on transformers features. We will discuss over there into the detail. And believe me, transformer is very much efficient API, and it can work outstanding way with Hugging Face. The last question: what are the industry uses and challenges with generative AI? So most of the industry uses are generative AI models are used in a chatbot and language translation application. Probably you have heard about the ChatGPT, which has launched nowadays, and it is very much popular nowadays, and it is solving many problems. Second industry uses is generative AI can analyze huge amount of medical data and generate potential new drug component. So we discussed about the GMM earlier. So GMM is also highly used for creation of the new component. Third one is the generative AI can create personalized advertisement promotional content for individual users. Yeah, definitely, it is helpful through the GAN. So GAN is also trained on so many images, and it creates the new style image for the which can be used for the promotion and advertisement a lot. The fourth one is the helpful in speeding up the operations like coding, email writing, content summarization. Yeah, ChatGPT is also very much helpful here, for example. And through the ChatGPT itself, we can just create coding, we can do the content summarization, we can do the email writing and all. And the last one is generative AI is very much used in the game nowadays. And what are the challenges with the generative AI? As it is new and it is being developed time to time, so it is very much challenging to manage the data governance and security of such kind of the things. So, so the first one is like in medicine and drug discovery, it is essential to prevent potential harm or misinformation. So definitely, so once we used to try to generate the new drug, then into that particular component, we need to properly check because we cannot get the 100% accuracy all the time in the MLAI. So definitely testing is the very important phase where we have to go it properly and check. Okay. The next one is these models requires huge amount of data to train. Definitely, once you to avoid the any kind of confusion, or if you will not train the model properly, then some biasing may happen. So it raises the concerns about the data privacy and the potential misuse of the sensitive information. So this kind of the input data may be related to the personal health data in um, healthcare industry. So there may be the HIPAA compliances over there. So we need to understand all of these things into the deep. How to manage the data uh, uh, compliances, how to manage the data governance, how to manage the data security and use. So these are very much challenging for the generative AI because we are not able to understand what kind of data it is going to generate and who will own that data, and how longer we can just keep all those data with the enterprises. So we have to understand all of these things into the deep, and there should be some regulation rule and regulations, how and policy. We need to follow all those things. And these are the very new areas, so we need to understand even how to make a policy and how to regulate it. Okay, this is also a challenge. The last one is there is a question of the ownership and the intellectual property right of the content generated by AI. That is what we discussed. It is very tough to understand who will own the generated data, new data. Okay. Okay, so guys, I have done from my side today, and I think this content will be helpful for your interview. And I have created all these interview questions based on my understanding. And I have attended so many interviews into these areas. And these are the questions generally asked in the interview. So get prepared for these questions. Try to answer the questions. Go for the job hunting. Thanks for joining and have a great day. Bye.